Hey guys, what's up? I'm Yalek, otherwise known as Boom Raider on this account, and today I have a couple of things to talk about. So, first thing I want to talk about in this video uh, came up in chat today on this account, my mid-level account. I want to talk about banking. Every Friday, you'll notice that Bomber up here pinned at the top of this chat. Bomber is also me. Bomber has made a comment about Free Stuff Friday. Every Friday with this task force, which is a lower level task force, kind of a learning task force, and there has been a lot of learning, so this is why I'm still here, because I am really impressed with the work some of these guys are doing. I post a lot of my hits in the chat, and then I see people replicating that, and that makes me really happy. Every Friday, which is Imitation Game plus Trader, I put a post up here and pin it from one of my two accounts in this task force about Friday and the resources that you get. Free Stuff Friday. So, and doing upgrades, because this is the perfect time to do it. So, I made a comment this morning about banking player bases, and I was asked the question, what does that mean? So, banking player bases. Let's see, where was my answer to this? Blah, blah, blah. Bank. It starts right here with this comment. When you get a base, so my answer to this, when you get a base you can beat with great rewards, don't just beat it right away. Instead, mark it with a note and leave it on your map for a day, like today or Dr. T. That way you supplement your event resources and get your big upgrades done. You treat your map as a piggy bank. That's your stash of resources. Now I'm going to go show you my map and explain to you what I mean. So, a bunch of different symbols on my map. I haven't even scouted this guy yet, so I don't know. I scout everybody. Every player that appears on my map, doesn't matter if it's a 65 or not, I'm gonna scout that guy, because, well, first of all, I want to see what the base layout is. Sometimes I know I can beat it. Sometimes I don't feel like I can. Sometimes, every once in a while, you find an HQ that has been beached, and that is always a wonderful thing. So you never know. You can find all sorts of fun things. Scout everybody. Now, you'll see here, this one has not been scouted at all because I haven't gotten to that. This one I've scouted and I put an X. This one I've scouted, and in my base note I've said maybe. So first of all, we'll look at the X. X to me, I mean, you can develop your own personal language for scouting player bases, but X to me means that this is really not going to be likely for me to beat. In this case, I look at this guy and he has his ranged towers arranged a little too centrally for me. His HQ is pretty well surrounded by them, and I am not thinking that I'm going to have the troop levels plus GBE to take this down. So X means I don't want anything to do with this guy. On the other hand, with this 57 down here, this was a maybe. Sometimes if there's a deliberate strategy that I think I can employ, I will put that into the base note. In this case, this fellow has a couple of rocket launchers forward and a shock launcher forward and hot pots, but they're forward, and it is possible that I could get, I don't know, somewhere back here maybe, would be my guess. Possibly BART that, or maybe just shock it. Could definitely shock these and remove those, and then maybe flare backward, get a bunch of GB because there's a stash back there, and deal with this other ranged tower and more or less avoid all of these defenses to the front part of this base. So that's a maybe. I don't know. I'll give it a shot. I haven't yet. Also, over here, I have a couple of guys with exclamation points, and that to me means I just feel like this is a player that needs to be attacked immediately. Like, this is a base that is ripe for attacking. This guy has just spread himself out so much that I feel like I can manage to avoid some of the range towers anyway. So in this case, I'd probably walk up the side over here, probably try to BART this central rocket launcher, and then deal with these two towers with a shock and manual removal, and gather up some GBE over here, perhaps, and then try to take down his HQ. It's a bad base design, in other words, and that exclamation mark means, you know, more or less go get 'em. So I've got a bunch of different guys on my map, player bases, and let's see. This guy over here, I have a plan, 3-5 heavy Zuka head on. This guy, well, we've already talked about him. I don't want any business with him. This guy, 5 o'clock, BART the flame, flare a shock. So that means sometimes I will put a plan. Sometimes I'll just note that there's a possibility, and sometimes, as I said, I will note that I want absolutely nothing to do with a player. This guy is going to beat me hands down, so there's no point. And then in that case, I am just waiting to be able to swap him out for another player. So all of these other guys, the maybes, the ones with a plan attached to the base, these other guys are players that have bases I think I can beat, and that means they have resources that I think I can access. And the idea of banking, to get back a little bit, is to save up those resources for a day when you're already going to have a lot of resources available, such as a Friday, which is Imitation Game, or any of the Dr. T days. The Dr. T days are great because they come in succession. So today's Friday, we had Imitation Game, but Saturday is Dr. T, Sunday is Dr. T. That means there's more resources to be had. Same thing with Tuesday and Wednesday. So those are sort of resource-rich days. So if you get these bases on your map, like this guy who's got a bad base design, or this guy also has a bad base design, you save them up for those days. Tuesday, Wednesday, Dr. T and Dr. T. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Imitation Game, Dr. T, Dr. T. And you can combine the resources from the events plus the player bases on your map and use them to do your big upgrades. Right now I have, actually on both of my lower level accounts, I've got major upgrades going. I've got 2 armories going, and on my lower level account I also have gunboat going. That's a pretty good day. So banking your resources, keeping player bases on your map, you know, you can go out on those other days of the week and just beat, NPC bases to get your supply chest. But you save up the really promising player bases, especially the ones with good rewards. This guy's got almost 300,000 gold for me. That can be useful. So just mark it and set it aside and let it sit. Just because it appears on your map doesn't mean you have to go beat it right away. So your map is your piggy bank. If you don't like a player, like this guy, I don't like them. As soon as I have the opportunity to get rid of them, I will. And hopefully whoever comes next in this spot or in this spot will be more promising. And if that's the case, then those resources are mine, and I'm going to use them at a time that is most beneficial to me. Now, with all of that said, yes, that is... Ooh, okay. We'll do it. That's good timing. Well, my wife loves me. There's never a bad time to hear that. Let's scout this guy live. Redneck. I know a redneck. This is most likely not him. So this base. Let's see. That, I could smoke my way in there and deal with that manually. Just be in the blind spot of it. Not really a problem. Critters can probably distract those two. This shock launcher is way off the scene. It's out of the picture entirely. Most of this can be dealt with my heavies, just letting them walk ahead, and that really leaves just this shock launcher as a problem. That's a maybe. Assuming I'm in this area of the world, or let's get the pen out, like over in here, get in that blind spot, and that rocket launcher is eliminated from the equation, that's a maybe. So that's how that works. It's that simple. I'll give it a go later. I'm not going to do it right now. But point is, there is a chance, and we're going to keep that guy around. And that's how that works. That is a possibility for me to get resources down the line. Now, with all of that said, I assume you understand the concept of banking because I've spent way too much time talking about it. That's how you do your big upgrades whenever you want to do them. So, now, let's just make something go boom. So this was an attack from, well, 25 minutes ago. And this was just plain fun, so I want to show it. Here is a badly designed player base, and to be specific, I'll show you why. This rocket launcher does not completely cover the HQ. Blaster is well out of range. Shock launcher is well out of range. This one I can eliminate on my path, so I'll sort of deviate in the middle of my walk, and I'll take care of that one manually. And this does not come anywhere near the HQ, but I just plan to shock while I'm handling this guy, and then I can walk away from it. Path is going to be, as you can probably tell, well, here, take care of this, back up here, and then working that way. Pretty simple. And the main thing is ultimately going to be to avoid the range of that rocket launcher. Drop, let the heavies get out first. Doesn't matter how many of them die, and you will see later in this attack how little it matters how many of the heavies die. So, smoking. It's a bit of an issue here. I tried to throw 2 smokes and the second one didn't register, so that second one got out really late when I realized it didn't get down. Panicked a tiny bit, but whatever. Just did what I was going to do anyway. Like I said, flared the rocket launcher, shocked the shock blaster, or the shock launcher, and just flared away. That shock was possibly not necessary, but that smoke there was possibly not necessary, but I was just trying to cover the back end of my hit. Now, you will look at my formation here, my troop composition. There is one heavy out there right now. I do have Everspark, and I do have critters, but I have a lot of girls, which is fantastic. There's some one-hitters up here, one hitter, and flamethrowers, which don't range Zookas. So that's all cool, but one heavy. Either way, not actually going to end up mattering. The critters sort of deflect, and also the heavies, I used a bit of a spread here. That way my girls weren't too bunched up, so even if this rocket launcher did happen to clip some of them, it wasn't going to matter too terribly much because I'd still have others left remaining. So really just last wanted to get down this one sniper tower, and then finally one last flare right up to the corner, right up against the back wall of the base and out of the range of that rocket launcher. And this guy's got no chance. And I know I do this all the time, but just zoom out and let's look at all of the towers he has managed to allow me to avoid. That is just tragically bad base design. Break out my draw tool one time, and let's see. There's towers in here. Just defenses, because obviously these other things aren't shooting you. But all of these defenses, I have found a way to escape. And hey, I mean, I keep saying it, people like to make these mistakes, and I like to capitalize, and down goes that HQ. Boom. So, anyway, piggy banking and avoiding towers, both very good things. If you agree with that, then give me a like, drop me a thumbs up, drop a comment, and say hi. I am Yalik and or Boom Raider, depending on which account I am on. And hope you have a great day. Out.